Do snake plants need fertilizer? Do snake plants really need fertilizer? This is a common question, especially because snake plants are known for being easy care plants. They can survive periods of dry soil, tolerate lower light, and generally don't need a lot of attention. So you might wonder, if snake plants are so low maintenance, do they actually need fertilizer? The answer is yes, but only in moderation. Fertilizer isn't absolutely necessary for a snake plant to survive, but providing some nutrients can support healthier growth, stronger leaves, and new shoots when the plant is actively growing. The key is knowing when to fertilize, how much to use, and when to leave the plant alone. In this video, we'll look at why snake plants need nutrients, when fertilizer can help, and some common mistakes to avoid. Let's get started. Number 1. Snake plants can survive without fertilizer. First, let's clear up an important point. A snake plant can survive without regular fertilizer. That's one reason these plants are considered low maintenance. They can use nutrients already present in their potting mix, and they generally grow relatively slowly. So if you've never fertilized your snake plant, don't assume you've done something wrong. If the plant looks healthy and continues producing new growth, there may not be an urgent problem. However, nutrients in the soil don't last forever. Over time, a potted plant can use up some of the available nutrients. That's when occasional fertilization can become useful. 2. Why do snake plants need nutrients? Like other plants, snake plants need essential nutrients to grow. They use nutrients to produce new leaves, maintain healthy foliage, and support their overall growth. Nitrogen is important for healthy vegetative growth. Phosphorus plays a role in root development and other plant processes. Potassium supports overall plant health and helps with various physiological functions. There are also smaller amounts of micronutrients that plants need. The good news is that you don't need to understand every nutrient to care for your snake plant successfully. A balanced fertilizer used correctly is usually enough. Number 3. Fertilizer supports growth. It doesn't create growth. One important thing to remember is that fertilizer isn't a magic growth booster. A snake plant still needs the basics: appropriate light, well-draining soil, proper watering, suitable temperature, and healthy roots. If these conditions aren't right, adding more fertilizer won't solve the underlying problem. For example, if your snake plant is sitting in constantly wet soil, fertilizer won't fix the root problem. If the plant isn't receiving enough light, adding extra fertilizer may not suddenly make it grow quickly. Think of fertilizer as support, not a replacement for good care. Number 4. When does a snake plant benefit from fertilizer? Fertilizer is most useful when the plant is actively growing. During warmer, brighter periods, your snake plant may produce new leaves or shoots. This is when additional nutrients can support that growth. If your plant is growing slowly or becoming less active during cooler, darker months, it generally needs less fertilizer. You don't need to feed it simply because the calendar says it's time. Pay attention to the plant's growth and your indoor conditions. Number 5. What if your snake plant looks healthy? If your snake plant has firm, healthy leaves and is producing new growth, you don't need to increase fertilizer just because you want it to grow faster. More fertilizer doesn't always mean more growth. In fact, excessive fertilizer can damage the roots and cause fertilizer burn. A healthy snake plant usually benefits more from consistent, moderate care than from frequent feeding. Sometimes doing less is better. Number 6. What if the plant isn't growing? A lack of new growth doesn't automatically mean your snake plant needs fertilizer. First, look at the growing conditions. Is it receiving enough light? Is the soil staying wet for too long? Is the pot too large? Are the roots healthy? Has the plant recently been repotted? All of these factors can affect growth. If the basic conditions are good and the plant is actively growing but simply needs additional nutrients, then fertilizer may help. But don't use fertilizer as the first solution to every growth problem. Number 7. How often should you fertilize? Snake plants generally don't need frequent feeding. A light application during the active growing season is usually enough for many indoor plants. The exact schedule depends on the fertilizer you're using and its strength. Always follow the product's instructions rather than assuming more is better. If you're unsure, using a weaker concentration is generally safer than applying a strong dose. Snake plants are slow growers, so there's usually no need to fertilize every time you water. 8. Can too much fertilizer hurt a snake plant? Yes, this is one of the most important things to understand. Fertilizer contains concentrated nutrients and salts. If too much is applied, salts can accumulate in the soil. This can damage the roots and cause symptoms such as brown leaf tips, brown edges, or other signs of stress. The plant may look like it has a watering problem when the real issue is excessive fertilizer. That's why moderation matters. A little fertilizer can help. Too much can create a new problem. Number 9. Don't fertilize a stressed plant. If your snake plant is already seriously stressed, be careful with fertilizer. For example, if the plant has root rot, very soft leaves, severe dehydration, or significant damage, fertilizer may add unnecessary stress. First, address the underlying problem. Give the plant appropriate light, fix watering issues, improve drainage, and check the roots if necessary. Once the plant is healthy and actively growing again, you can return to a normal feeding routine. Number 10. Fresh potting soil may already contain nutrients. Another thing to consider is the age of your potting mix. Fresh commercial potting soil may already contain nutrients. If you've recently repotted your snake plant with fresh soil, you may not need to fertilize immediately. Give the plant time to adjust. Depending on the potting mix, nutrients may already be available for some time. Always check the fertilizer instructions and the information on your potting soil before adding additional nutrients. 11. What kind of fertilizer should you use? For snake plants, you don't necessarily need a special fertilizer labeled only for snake plants. A balanced fertilizer suitable for indoor plants can work well when used properly. You may see fertilizers with different NPK numbers on the label. The important thing is not to choose the strongest fertilizer. Snake plants generally don't require heavy feeding. A moderate fertilizer used at an appropriate dilution is often a better approach. We'll talk more about choosing the right fertilizer and NPK ratio in the upcoming videos in this playlist. Final thoughts. So, do snake plants need fertilizer? Yes, but they don't need much. A snake plant can survive without regular fertilization, but occasional feeding can provide nutrients that support healthy growth and new leaves. The most important thing is to fertilize during active growth. Use an appropriate fertilizer and avoid excessive amounts. Remember that fertilizer can't replace good lighting, proper watering, healthy roots, or well-draining soil. If your snake plant is healthy and growing, you don't need to constantly add more nutrients. And if your plant is struggling, find the underlying problem before reaching for the fertilizer. With the right balance, occasional feeding can help your snake plant stay healthy without putting unnecessary stress on its roots. Thank you for watching Plants Every Day. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more simple indoor plant care tips. Be sure to explore our snake plant fertilizer and nutrients playlist for more easy guides on feeding your snake plant and providing the nutrients it needs for healthy growth. See you in the next video. Happy growing!